outsource the numbers?
You can outsource the numbers. What does that mean, Adam?
It's a good question. So the numbers, first of all, we're talking about are the financials when it comes to running the business and being able to track what's going on. But the idea of outsourcing it, to me, it almost feels like or sounds like more of an abdication. I want to take those numbers and that idea and just take it and throw it up over top of the wall and let somebody else handle all that stuff. Because I'm too busy doing other things, dealing with trying to get more customers in here or satisfy their demands or dealing with an employee issue over here. I don't have time for or desire to mess with the numbers. I'd like to get that onto somebody else's plate, make it their problem, let them take care of all that stuff and just throw it to them and not have to deal with it myself.
Well, physically you can outsource the numbers, and just like any contracting business out there, you can provide services by basically, finding somebody who's expert in that. But really, what happens, we know physically you can, but you don't learn the power of running a company by the numbers. It's a huge, huge power. I've owned and operated many companies, and prior to that, I had a pretty senior financial position in a big corporation, publicly traded. I cannot imagine running a company for profits and being profitable without having a good feel and sense of those numbers. You don't have to be an accountant, but you certainly have to understand the basic financial statements, the profit and loss, the balance sheet. That's what you're in business for, to make a profit. Why in the world wouldn't you want that scorecard to guide you?
Yeah, Jack and I have a lot of discussions about this over the years. I'm sure you can imagine. Both he and I are both financially driven, and we understand those numbers pretty well. And we get in a lot of different discussions. Jack's background came up more in the accounting realm, and so he's really big into debits and credits. Where I come at more from a financial standpoint, and I'm not big in the debits and credit side of things, especially as you mentioned before about not having to become an accountant. That's not what we train our clients to be, but it's helping them to make sense of those numbers so they start to see what's going on as part of those numbers. So if you understand debits and credits, that's great, but you don't necessarily need to understand that as far as what we're talking about. It's really just understanding what's going on. And Jack brings a good point. We can outsource them to somebody, have somebody else do them, but that doesn't mean you just turn them over to them and assume everything's being done, or worse yet, having them just kind of report to you and see what's kind of going on. There's a couple of reasons for that. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, right? There are a lot of common mishaps that go on when people just kind of outsource or abdicate those numbers. Not the least of which is theft.
That's right.
I recall one of our first coaching clients years ago. This is going back almost 15 years ago. They had somebody taking care of the books, and there was a little bit of money that had disappeared. And what happened was they thought it was going to pay taxes, and the money was going elsewhere. Or we've had another one too, where this wasn't a client of ours. This is years ago I met. It was actually with a hair salon, which was very good for the two of us, right? With our nice hairdos, right?
We have good expertise on that area.
Yes, but as I was talking to the owner there, they had 3 partners, and one of the partner's spouses was taking care of the books. And wouldn't you know it, that partner's spouse was siphoning off some funds because everybody trusted him because he was the spouse. Why wouldn't you trust the spouse to take care of things and do things well?
Well, in my earlier days, there's a little nostalgia here. I was an auditor, and I've personally uncovered many thefts, and really through the years have developed a sense of people who are taking money. But what always happens is that, geez, I'm so surprised when they find a theft of the company or in the company. I would have never guessed in a million years that Sally would ever take money from us. She was so trusted. She was the nicest woman we ever met.
That's right.
Well, of course, you aren't gonna
They're good
put
that
a
way,
known
right?
thief
Yeah.
in covering and guiding and hovering over the family jewels. That's for sure. You aren't going to do that. So.
Right.
You need an understanding of accounting and the supporting systems that develop those numbers. That's where the power comes. And what we do we have 7 keys to success that we coach small business owners on. And one of them is putting together a profit plan. Again, you're in business to make profits. Doesn't it stand to reason that you're going to have a plan to do that? And that's pushing and rearranging the numbers. And then you present those. And if you can master those, Those are two of the 7 keys. If you can master those, you're well on your way to running a company by the numbers, and you're going to find things that you never ever thought you would find when doing that.